Hello and welcome to Cube 57. I'm Dr. Laura Murillo, President and CEO of the Houston Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. We're happy to have you joining us here on Houston Legends. And as always, we find some of the best people in Houston to showcase. And today is none other than Marcus Davis. You know him, you've seen the lines around his restaurant, at the Breakfast Club, at the Reggae Hut, and also most recently, he's going to talk to you about a new restaurant that he's got in downtown Houston. You hear him on the radio. He's a motivational speaker, doing great work here in the Houston area. Please welcome Marcus Davis.
Thank you.
Thanks for being with us. Happy to have you here. I so enjoy your waffles and chicken. It's worth the wait. I go there and I don't use your utensils most of the time. I pick up that chicken and eat it the way I think you intended it to be had.
You know, it's funny you say that because I am full confession, I eat with my hands. I love my food. I love touching my food. And I don't know, maybe it's in my DNA, but I was out one day, and in public, it doesn't matter. I was out one day, and I was picking something up, and I ate it, and the waitress came by. She said, would you like a fork with that instead of your hands? I said, well, I don't know who made that fork. God made my finger, so I'm good.
Well, good for you. And you know what? People have enjoyed the experience, because I do believe it's an experience, and you've been recognized in a variety of different magazines, USA Today, Good Morning America, Esquire magazine, Forbes magazine. When you started out, Marcus, did you think that this restaurant, the Breakfast Club, with a K, and we're gonna get to that, would have this national exposure?
The answer is unequivocally yes.
Good for you.
Wholeheartedly.
Yes.
And I say that, and sometimes when I say that, it throws people off tilt, because a lot of times people are expecting me to say no. But I'd be lying if I did, and I'd be in denial of something I believe is very, very important for entrepreneurship, and that is vision. Yes. I think the ability for a leader, for an entrepreneur to be successful, they have to be able to see as much as they possibly can the route, the path, the direction that they're going. So when the line's out the door around the corner, the restaurant's full, and people ask me, did you ever think that it'd be like that? I said, yes, I did. I said, I saw you sitting in this seat long before you sat down in this seat. And so I encourage entrepreneurs to embrace the concept of fully seeing what it is that they're trying to do, trying to be, where they're trying to go.
Well, and that's very interesting, because a very similar thing, when I left my career in the Texas Medical Center to run the Chamber of Commerce at a time when it was having a lot of challenges, as you remember, I did have that vision. And I knew that it would take people, passion, and persistence. And I do believe that many people who have gone on to do great things have been very visual and can see it and work toward those goals.
And to be honest, the idea of entrepreneurship is so challenging. There are going to be a lot of setbacks, right? Or obstacles or challenges that are ahead of you. And sometimes, the vision, that picture that you've painted in your head is the only thing you have to hold on to. You've gotten so many no's, you've gotten so many rejections, you've gotten so many doors closed in your face. But the only thing that can keep you going is what you see in your head and your ability to believe wholeheartedly in its ability to become reality.
And you've taken that concept with restaurants, which, by the way, my family's in the restaurant business. It's a hard business. It's a very hard business. You've got to deal with people and products and daily consistency with your food. But you've been very ambitious with this. Not only is it the Breakfast Club, but also Reggae, which is phenomenal. I know you invited me to lunch there, and that jerk chicken just falls off the bones. And so the Reggae Hut Cafe, and now most recently Culture, which is yet to be tested, by me, but I'm on my way.
We gotta get you to test.
So tell me about Culture.
So Culture, my definition of entrepreneurship is filling a void in the marketplace that the marketplace is calling for consciously or subconsciously, unconsciously. And you have to listen to what the marketplace is asking for and look for the gaps where the marketplace needs something to be filled. And Culture was the response to a call that I heard from the community, which is we want Southern food. We want the ability to have, grandma's greens and macaroni and cheese and meatloaf and all those good things. But we want them with a twist. We want them with today's chefs touch on grandma's recipes, and we want them in a certain setting, right? We want them in an environment that's good to come to after work.
It's
for happy hour. We want it where we can bring colleagues from for meetings. We want it somewhere where we can go take our wife to celebrate our anniversary, our birthdays, or things like that. So that's the idea. And then, of course, the idea of being able to make a cultural expression of what your ancestors have contributed to the earth, right? And so when we reflect on food in the United States and the great contributions that my ancestors have made in the South, by bringing over techniques and strategies and flavors and blends, and the okra and the black-eyed pea and things of that nature coming through the transatlantic slave trade and making it to the southern part of the United States. So it's good to talk about those things, as well as jazz being the original art form in America, and to be able to have jazz musicians come and express themselves in our we got a little bitty stage, not a big band, but just a place where we can play a little bit of music and art. So culture is about cultural expressions through food, music, and art.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, we'll be right back.
Yeah, we'll be right back.
Thank you. We're back. I'm Dr. Laura Murillo, President and CEO of the Houston Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, and we're here with Houston legend Marcus Davis. He was talking to us a little bit about his restaurants, all of the great things that he's been doing here in the Houston area, including serving as a motivational speaker, being recognized nationally, and at the end of the day, making really great food. Above all, he puts family first, and we were talking about his 3 children and their paths, and your wife and your mom, and just the family connection to your business, how important that's been to you, and how it keeps you going, Marcus.
Family is huge for me. I got into this business as a result of my father's passion for great food and for fellowship. He was an educator by profession, but he was a musician and a chef by passion.
Okay.
And there were plenty of Sundays that our house would be full of folks because they wanted to come over to see what Jerry Davis was cooking on that Sunday. And so I picked up on that. That I did. I didn't pick up on his cooking. I picked up on creating the environment,
the hospitality, bringing folks together. And you thought, okay, how do I turn this into a business? Yeah. What was your first job?
Ironically, my first job was with my father, who as I said, he was an educator, but he had a part-time business or side business of catering. Oh. And so the first place I got hired, the first place I got fired was it really was. And so I worked there for him, doing banquets. I put on my little bow tie, my little tuxedo shirt. We had to be 8, 9, 10 years old.
Okay.
I think I was about 10 or 11 when I got fired. My dad didn't have a lot of money to leave us, but the intangibles that he left for us, are so immeasurable. This idea of having a great work ethic is one. And so he found me slacking one day, and he said, "Hey, if you keep slacking, you're not going to go on the next job." Next job came around. He rounded up my brothers and my cousins.
Yeah, and you had your bow tie in hand.
I was ready to go, and he looked at me and said, "Where are you going?" And he told me, he said, "I told you if you didn't put in the work, you weren't coming." And so he closed the door, and I had to go sit back down on the couch. Yeah. So, but fast forward, 20 years later, 30 years later, 20 years later, I was able to fulfill the dream of opening the restaurant. I called my father and I said, "Hey, you got to come and, work with me on putting great flavors in the mouths of others." And he came aboard, right? And it worked out well.
Oh, that's nice. So everyone knows Breakfast Club is with a K.
The Breakfast Club.
The Breakfast Club is with a K.
Yes.
And Culture's with a K.
Yes.
Why?
That reason right there. It gets your attention. So when I started the restaurant, or was working on the business plan, people kept asking me, "What's going to set you apart? What's your niche? What's your niche?" So I went to find a number of different ways to make the concept stand out, right? Okay. So one was, the Breakfast Club is a coffee shop. I don't know if you know that, but we're actually a coffee shop, and we opened at the height of the coffee shop rave, right? Okay. So we do the caramel macchiatos, the white raspberry mochas. Okay. We have 6 blends of roasted coffee. And the idea was to be able to mix a coffee shop with a place that served fried pork chops for breakfast. In 2001, that just wasn't happening in the city. So we wanted to fill that void. So I looked for a number of different ways. Putting fish and grits on the menu. You couldn't find fish and grits on the menu in 2001, not in the city of Houston. So that was another niche that we wanted to do. So the other thing I looked at the menu and I decided, hey, it'd be a great idea if we changed all the hard C's to K's as part of our signature.
Just so people recognize that. And you did it, and it worked.
17 years later,
and
it still worked.
And
people ask about it every day.
Yeah. So I know that one of the other things that you enjoy doing, and I enjoy listening to you, is that you're on the radio, and that's such an important part of who you are and that message, and clearly why the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce has embarked on CBS, on Cube, with Univision, because we understand the power of the media and telling our stories and making sure we have guests on. What's that experience been like for you?
So it has been a fantastic experience. It's a labor of love.
Yes.
I absolutely love the opportunity to get up in the morning and go to my pulpit and share the sermon that I need to share with the congregation that's listening.
Just get it all off your chest.
Get it all off my chest.
And it's been building through the week, I imagine,
through
right?
the week. And the beauty of it is I'm on the ground every day.
Yes.
I hear different stories. I hear different opportunities for other people to flourish through someone else's story. And so being able to collect those stories and share them with the general public is absolutely fascinating. And so it's a passion of mine. It's funny how I got into radio, how I got on air. I was invited by my mentor to come and talk about my business.
Yes.
And she asked me to stay on as her, you want to come back? I said, how often you want me to come back? She said, keep coming. And so I became her sidekick, and then that evolved into the show that I do now.
Yeah.
But I had harbored a desire to be on the radio for years.
Okay.
I grew up working in fast food.
Okay.
And so I perfected my radio voice by working the drive-through at fast food restaurants.
You know what? It's like I like to say, it doesn't matter what job you have, be the best at it.
Best at it.
And it sounds like you've been the best at it, and we are so proud to have you with us.
I'd be in that drive-through. Thank you for choosing the Breakfast Club. Would you like? And so it would go on and on and on.
Well,
no, thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. We're so proud of you and your family and your success as an entrepreneur, and also just the positive energy that you put out there. And we were happy to have you as one of our Houston legends. Congratulations. Thanks for joining us on the Houston Hispanic Chamber of Commerce Houston Legends. I'm Dr. Laura Murillo, and we'll see you next time.